Time's up, Admiral.
Here it comes.
I want to say something real quick.
I'm the doctor, and I save people.
Isn't that nice?
That's very nice.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
I used that in a video. I made that for a video earlier in the week. Hail and howdy, everybody. Welcome to Doctor Who Cares Reviews, the real Doctor Who Cares Reviews. Because somebody with a bloated ego and a giant helmet stole our stream title for his. Never used it before. Right, Dermy?
That actually pissed me off.
Never used before. Welcome to Doctor Who Cares Review, where we take time to beat up on Shooty Who.
Beat off.
Beat up. Beat up. Beat up. Go check the tapes. All right? Check the tapes. Beat up. Duty who.
Duty who.
Duty who. Hey.
That actually works. That might be the new name.
Duty
who. That probably would have actually been a good one, especially with episode 2. Duty who. Where are you?
Oh no, we're terrible. Anyway, we are here to opine on Shooty Who Season 2, Episode 4, Lucky Day. Is it our lucky day, Jeremy?
No, it's not our lucky day because everybody's stupid in the freaking episode. I'm trying not to break TOS just yet and say the R word. But Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I mean, Jed, I watched it before both of you, and I told you each a couple of things. Overall, this episode is not as offensive to me as the previous ones, but it's still not good. But
I found it entirely offensive, just along with the other ones, partially because there were things that were okay in it, like not having Shooty Gatwa in it. That made me hate it more because there were things that were almost okay in it. It has the best TARDIS look since Capaldi's TARDIS.
Angry color TARDIS, I called it. The
angry colored
retardis, yeah.
It was pretty great. Like that actually made me almost like the TARDIS design because I've hated this generic sterile TARDIS this whole time. But with that warm lighting,
you know, like the jukebox,
it doesn't make enough of a difference.
That he never touches or plays or does anything with.
But I do have to say, I'm actually glad that we're reviewing this show rather than The Last of Us. As people know, I loved the first Last of Us game, never touched the second one, and wasn't going to touch Season 2 after hating Season 1. And I'm very glad about that, because instead of talking about absence of Shooty Who and celebrating that tonight, we could be talking about how Bella Downsy fingered Dora the Explorer.
Yeah, I have that. I'm gonna bring it up on Mellow Mondays tonight after we're done here.
You know,
I stumbled across it this afternoon after we were done with Daily Dive, and I was like, oh my.
I'm so happy I tapped out of freaking The Last of Us last season before, I think 2 episodes before the end, because I was just so fucking bored. I couldn't do it anymore. And now I'm hearing everything that's going on here, and it's like I'm so happy I'm not watching that shit.
I mean, listen, we can't go into that. It's not what we do here, but I hear that show's bleeding viewers now massively. That's what I hear.
Some people, for some reason, like Pedro, and Pedro's not around anymore. Spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers. Like we all didn't know I was going to have them. Anyway, all right, so let's get on topic. So, hail and howdy to everybody across the chats. We are happy that you're joining us here. One of the best things you can do is hit those like buttons. Hit those like buttons. Chat it up in the chat. Say things to us, taunt us, this and that. Share your thoughts, and we will now bring on the pain, as the goddess is saying. We're bringing on the pain. Okay, so episode 4, Lucky Day. When it started, I didn't know it was going to go the way it went, but as Jed already alluded to, literally, there's no Shooty for the entire episode. He's in there for a total of 5 minutes, really.
And Dr. Light.
And you know what? The episode is better for it. It's better for it. Because I know that Dermy, in passing, mentioned pissed you off. The unit stuff I didn't hate the unit stuff. I didn't hate seeing unit I didn't hate seeing unit, period.
Listen, I should have hated seeing unit but by the end of the episode, there's a reason my particular side of the stream has said unit is stupid.
Oh, Unit is stupid, and I want to clarify. I don't like anyone at Unit, so I wouldn't say that I enjoyed seeing Unit. I like Kate Stewart, and she was the best part of this episode, I think.
100%.
Oh, we got Wheelchair Chick again, who they brought to a combat scene.
I was hoping she'd shoot the rockets at him at the end. That's how I thought that was gonna resolve. Like, please, and then of course, that alien creature was for some reason at the top of a fucking skyscraper, the dumbest place to keep it. Bring back the Tower of London. But yeah, instead they did that instead of having the wheelchair lady blow him to hell. That would have been kind of funny. Have the big bay doors open from the 60th anniversary where the little game of catch took place and just let him sail off the end.
Well, there's a reason the creature was up there on the top of the
Plot
They were
convenience.
mid-transfer.
No, it was being transferred to Geneva.
Wherever. But it just happened to be there when he broke.
Yeah, that's plot convenience because the episode takes place over a couple days when we first see the Shriek up there at the top of the tower, and you don't move it to the transport location right away. It is a dangerous alien creature. You move it right before it needs to be moved fully. So it's still just plot convenience.
I think it is a plot convenience. I don't know how long they were waiting to transfer it. I just
there had to be the time because we saw Kate go look at it when Ruby called her and said, "Hey, I'm feeling a little nervous on this trip," and then there had to be enough time for Conrad's online.
That was several days. That was at least. I feel like that. No. It was a couple of months between the beginning of the episode and the twist. But after that, I think it's only like maybe 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, there's got to be days involved there, is
yeah.
what I'm saying. Days is too long to keep an alien monster on top of a skyscraper in the center of London.
They didn't put it up there until like at that moment towards the end. I think it was up there for like
when Ruby called her and said, "Hey, I'm nervous," she goes and checks on the street.
Yeah, but it's down there. It's down in the basement.
It's down there in the basement. It's a plot convenience. I'm not denying that it's a plot convenience.
I thought it was in the same place. I don't think it should be in London. Like, Unit is incompetent. Unit is so fucking incompetent. So, there should be no Avengers Tower for Unit.
No. So So the Shriek was in the basement of Unit Avengers Tower, and then on the day that a live action Eric breaks into the building or gets let in, it just happens to be up there for transport.
Oh, God. I love coincidences. We all know that I have a stapled love of coincidences.
All right, so let's get started on this because the first half of the episode is literally a nothing burger. Because it's literally women.
It's all designed for gays and women. It's a fucking romance.
Listen.
Like, oh my God,
listen. Millie Gibson deserves better. She deserves me. Okay, right now that she deserves me. Not because
you deserve better.
Not because I want to talk to her, just because I want to have sex with her.
Yeah, no, but you deserve better. You deserve someone you can have an intelligent conversation with.
Listen, I'm just talking about physical nature here. I'm not talking about having a thrilling conversation. I'm talking about her really nice tits, which are under wraps the entire episode.
They knew they heard what people were doing for season 1.
Listen, there was at least
her down, man.
2 scenes where when she walked, they jiggled.
Yeah, but it's only when
you can only stop the jiggle so much.
It was only in the flashback scene where they still had her dressed like she was in season 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then
what's your point?
I didn't even catch a second time.
Speaking of that flashback, this episode was so Love and Monsters. If there's an episode of Doctor Who that you should never emulate, it's Love and Monsters. Even people who love the show when it was good say that is the worst episode. I think it's not as bad as people say, but it's still like the worst episode of New Who. You don't emulate Love and Monsters. You don't emulate getting a blowjob from a pavement head.
And you know what I hated? And I don't hate it. It just annoyed me that in the flashback they put him in his doctor uniform for the flashback.
Okay. So why don't we explain what the fuck's happening?
All right.
I think we need to start out with the scene that started the episode with present day.
Where we see Shooty and Belligerent arrive in, what was it, 2007?
2007
London on New Year's Eve.
And they arrive and they step back to Triangle. And of course, Shooty is not in a doctor uniform. He's in a beanie and looking very gay. And what jumped out for me in that is that for the 5 seconds she speaks, Belligerent is in full belligerent mode. It's like, why are you talking? Why are you happy? We need to get home. Shut up, bitch. Shut up. I hate you. And of course, then Shooty's flitting about, and then they turn around. The kid is staring at them. And now, when we went into this last week, we thought this was going to be a gay love triangle. That's what we thought this episode was going to be. And for a second, I thought, oh no, is he going to groom this kid? That's what I thought for a second.
I didn't even think that. That's great.
Because going into what we thought this episode was going to be, I thought, oh no, he's going to flirt with the kid and the kid's going to fall in love with him. Oh no.
And he paid for it too.
Yeah, he did. He gave him that.
And the episode title makes zero goddamn sense. So yeah, the doctor gives this little boy 50 pence he finds on the road, and he's like, "It's your lucky day. Here's 50 pence." And then yeah, the kid has the 50 pence around his neck for the rest of the episode, but it has nothing to do with luck. The episode doesn't talk about luck. It's not about anything related to it. It's just, hey, what's a kind of cool sounding line? Oh, let's search the script. I guess Lucky Day's the most unique thing in it. Okay.
And then
Why
they
not
set
call
up
it think tank.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. But
Shriek's Revenge.
Dermy, so in this opening thing, after this kid gets mesmerized by seeing Shooty and Belligerent, he runs off, and then we see that his mom literally beats him.
Yeah, his mom's a drunken asshole.
Because that's the stereotype. All sad, broken men have bad mothers.
I mean, I thought we were setting up. Oh, this kid escaped a bad mom, and then he finds Ruby, and he's gonna fall in love with Ruby and the doctor. And I thought that we were gonna get a silly rom-com, and the show thinks you're gonna get that because then it's 20 years later, 13 years later, or some shit like that. 20 years later, no, not 20 years later, 15 years later.
Well,
I can't do math. You need to fuck alone.
There's math years later.
Math years later. That's
math years later. Numbers of years later. He's older and
he's walking the streets. And this isn't a lie because we know it happened because he gets hit by the splooge.
He happens to find the TARDIS. We never get explained why that was. We assume it's something related to his shady stuff later. But yeah, he finds the TARDIS and finds the Doctor and Ruby fighting the Shriek.
He wanders into the warehouse. And we get shots of the Shriek, and then he ducks, and he gets hit by the splooge.
Man, that perception filter really does work, doesn't it, man?
So much. And I was just ready for the Doctor and Rose to run out with red and blue buckets and throw them on something. It is so Love and Monsters. That's virtually the same scene with Elton walking in on the Doctor and the Rose fighting some toothy monster. It's the same fucking scene.
I think it's the exact. It's the exact same monster. Now that I'm thinking about it,
and they have some similarities. There are definitely some design similarities. We never really know much about the monster from Love. That monster from Love and Monsters.
So then we get a shot of Shooty and Ruby during their adventures, which I want to remind everybody that Ruby spent a very short amount of time with Shooty. Who she wasn't there for a long adventure, and when we talk about her supposed PTSD over it, it's not like she spent years and years and went in there trying to learn anything or had anything revolutionary happen to her. Because remember, the whole twist of last season, she wasn't anybody special.
Yeah, it was so fucking dumb. What was the worst thing that happened to her? She got locked in a cello right before this flashback.
She had to watch Shooty make out with that dude.
She technically died.
She did?
Boom.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, she did die and the ambulance brought her back. Okay, that one's fair.
I'll
give you PTSD for that.
Oh,
you had her dying. You had her getting locked in the cello, and
but she doesn't even
remember.
I would say if she remembered everything that happened in 72 yards, maybe, but she didn't.
Yeah. The other thing, maybe living through everybody dying, and also almost getting trapped in that one prison for all eternity, or whatever that was in the fucking cosplay episode.
Sutek didn't do shit to her.
He showed up, and when he showed up last season, he showed up and taunted them, and then took a ride on the TARDIS until they dumped him into the time vortex.
Well, I'm not
which he'd been living in for millennia.
Yeah, and I didn't mean like Sutek did anything to her. I meant like just living through that.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows what it could have been?
You know what I mean, though?
Yeah.
When I talk about
compared
this in
to
my
other companions,
Exactly.
the PTSD is very low.
I mean, exactly. It's not like she went in there, had to, because yes, did Donna only spend a limited amount of time with the doctor? Yes, but a lot of heavy shit went on during Dr. Donna. A lot of heavy shit happened.
Mhm.
Which,
She was at Pompeii.
yeah.
And she feels responsible for Pompeii because she helped press the button to kill everyone in Pompeii. That'll leave a scar on your conscience.
Not to mention, you had the essence of a Time Lord in you.
Mhm.
That's going to fuck with your brain.
And not in a sexual manner.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah, maybe.
Depends on the doctor.
Well, like, I also didn't really take this as PTSD. I'm taking it as she's getting more used to the everyday kind of spiel after.
Well, she does say PTSD at one point.
That's what I'm saying.
Did
She
she
says
say
PTSD.
PTSD?
She says that's why I'm using it. She actually said PTSD because they're trying to make it a thing that it's the thing where a companion is gone and you have to adjust to your life without the doctor, especially after being thrown in the shit all the time. Problem was she wasn't really thrown in the shit. Not really compared to other companions.
I can accept her kind of having to like readjust because she did have these.
Yeah,
that's fair. But think about this. She has it flipping easy. We're in a world now where former companions just get jobs at unit.
That and we haven't revisited this since the end of Dr. What's Her Fuck, but there's a literal support system for all the companions to sit down and talk about their feelings.
They brought fucking Ian back from the first season of Doctor Who just to say, it was offensive.
We never revisit the companions circle of friendship. We never revisit that. We just keep going back to unit, but
my favorite part of this episode though was around this time when we first see Unit, there's children taking a tour of Unit. So it's like a tourist destination, a school trip to Unit, and everyone's memeing that, saying that's how Kate Stewart recruits, because she's recruited a lot of children. Because Jason Noble was the child working for Unit.
I am so surprised we didn't see him in this episode. I really am.
I'm honestly surprised too, but
let's keep going. So the dude watches all the thing, and we learn the key plot points. You got to drink the nasty stuff that Shooty makes. Listen, I should have made this joke in my review, but essentially Shooty gives you a hot Cosby with that potion because it knocks you out for 8 hours.
Yeah.
Oh, the stands were saying, yeah, this is a good characterization because this is a continuation of him like scanning belligerent's DNA without her permission. He doesn't respect women's boundaries and he has to learn better. He didn't tell Ruby that it was
gay.
That it tasted bad.
Hey, Derby's right. He's gay.
The whole thing is supposed to. They literally even said it last season. This isn't me defending it, but they're supposed to be going around acting like two best friends: the gay friend and the girl.
Yeah,
that was their relationship.
No, these people are saying it's the residual misogyny of being a white man is still something he's fighting with.
God. Oh, come on, dude.
I was dying with that. Yeah, they were connecting the DNA scan to
one of the
telling
things
her that it wiped her out.
I mean, we know that I get a lot of stan shit on social media. The one of them I am not tapped into the Doctor Who stuff. I don't see that.
It's most of what I see, unfortunately.
Yeah, I see Disney stands and MCU stands and Wheel of Time stands. I don't see
comments last week saying we're just thinking about it too hard. We need to quit thinking about it. It's a kids show. They're just openly.
Oh wow! All right, they can't use that excuse for Disney Star Wars anymore. So now let's use it for Doctor Who. Oh, we watched the 50th anniversary special about what happened with the creation of Doctor Who. It was made for kids and family. Shut up.
They're all mouth breathers. It is what it is.
Yes.
And they have dents.
They're not breathing because they got things in their mouths. Anyway, so he gets hit by the splooge. We learn the antidote, and he watches them be all as they leave. And then he snaps a shot of Ruby as she gets to the TARDIS. And now here's where I thought, oh shit, are we going stalker? Is this guy going to go stalker? Here's why because remember, we're dialed in thinking this episode's going to be rom-com. We're dialed into that because but it's what we assume with the level of writing in this show. And then it turns out that he's got a podcast, and Ruby showed up and he's let herself be interviewed by him.
Which I have to say, the podcast, everything with Conrad's story makes zero sense, but we got to save this away for later when the reveal happens. The podcast doesn't make sense with who he is and what he's doing. It damages his position.
It damages a lot of shit,
right.
and it also further makes Unit look retarded, because to compare this again to Love and Monsters makes even more sense, because that's what the guy was doing in Love and Monsters, was like cataloging, the doctor, wanting to know more about it. He didn't really have a podcast, but he had a video blog. But that's
different era. Different
era, and he didn't really have a following. Conrad somehow has a massive following. We saw a bunch of people watching him.
They said he has 80,000 people that follow
Unit
him.
would have a problem with him just spilling the doctor's secret. And Ruby, when she got on the show, my first thought was, oh, she's gonna spill secrets about the doctor. And yeah, she says she won't do the big secrets, but she's still telling the public stuff about the doctor.
Unit knows it exists because he openly says, I've tried to get Unit employees on here and they all say no for an obvious reason.
And we see the Unit employee walking into Unit while listening to it.
But but we're supposed to believe, guys, it's just another person wanting to just talk about the doctor and all the goings on of the doctor and Unit and blah, blah, blah.
You see, this is why I like us coming together to talk about this, because I didn't stress this part during my review. I leaned on other things, but we have to talk about the fact that Unit is massively incompetent in this episode. How did if they interviewed him, and if they're Unit with all their tech and their computer and the stupid robot up at the top of the tower that monitors everything, if they're monitoring this shit and they're literally watching, listening to it, how is it that they don't have any sort of recognition that he applied for a job there once? And I got to sneeze.
Stupid.
Unit is incompetent as shit in this episode. Yeah, Kate has some balls in a couple moments, but yeah, overall Unit is a waste of taxpayer money the way that they are operating.
Incredibly idiotic, stupid on a whole nother level, and I'm still trying not to say the R word yet because we're not an hour in, but goddamn, I really want to freaking say it.
Oh, here's the thing, though. We get... They start the whole thing. Now, remember, like this is in a 42-minute episode, 35 minutes of this was literally fake, because it's the snow job that live action Eric is pulling on her, where he's trying to date her, he's wooing her. And honestly, in all seriousness, this part I feel like this is one of the few things in this episode that it worked, because the setup and the reveal that it was all fake, I did feel sorry for Ruby. I did.
Well, yeah, because it was all shitty.
You to do that was a very good little track of, wow, look at this woman's broken heart. Now at the same time,
there's some things that actually did come through, like the whole date scenes that I do want to point out, was like how the Shriek hunts.
Well, they used it as
Ruby ends up
information dumps.
Fake Eric, or whatever the fuck that guy's name is, Constantine or whatever, the antidote. And then there's two moments that are very important where they walk by a taxi and the taxi cab,
and you see it flipping. That's what you think. Oh, here it comes. But it's fake, because it's all a put up job right there.
Give me a moment. I can't hear anybody again.
Oh, you went
all right. Well, that's pretty impressive work on Think Tank if they knew that she was looking at this random sign and made it flicker. Like,
they had it out, they did it on like the taxi that they walked by. I think they had it just showing us and like, oh, here it comes. But the whole thing, as I said, the fakeness of it, I did feel for her. I'm like, that sucks. That's wrong.
Yeah, and Ruby's never done anything to make me dislike her. Not like belligerent.
Yeah, and to see her. And I'll give Millie Gibbs some credit. She pulls off that moment of, how could you do this to me? What do you mean it wasn't real? I felt something. My little black nerd heart felt something. But then it gets stupid. Because and now up until that point, I also thought, oh, he's going to, right until we get to the reveal part, I also thought that he was going to be a beta cuck in terms of, oh, I want to be like the doctor. Okay, I want to be brave like the doctor. I thought we were leading up to, oh, he's going to be that kind of idiot. But no.
I don't have a problem with him wanting to be like the doctor and at least wanting to do that.
But the way they were doing it, it looked like he was going to be a simp and a cuck is why I'm saying it. But then here then it comes to the reveal of it all, and where honestly, I didn't see this coming. Did you guys see this coming?
No.
The think tank twist?
No, not specifically like this. By that point, I knew there was something else going on with him, but not to this level, because this level is retarded, and I unfortunately don't think on that low of a spectrum.
Okay.
It's so retarded that it basically makes everything we just watched for the past 35 minutes
and
pointless.
Being 35 minutes in, this one we completely realized, oh, shoot, he's not going to be in the episode.
Thankfully.
He ain't showing up. And we get to this point where it's the reveal. And the dudes take off the masks and they Scooby-Doo themselves. And you have him go, yeah, we are think tank.
It was so...
What is...
I need to point out before we get to that. He specifically says he doesn't take the antidote, which contradicts something that we find out later at the end of the episode. Just want to say that. But yeah, they were talking about in behind the scenes, apparently they did make multiple versions of the suit and had... this is actually kind of interesting. The prop department, they had a new prop department come in, look at the real suits for the Shriek from the beginning and the end, and then tell them, go off and make this suit from memory. And that's the suit that they use during the fake sequences. I thought that was kind of cool. It's giving them a little credit for thinking something like that.
That's okay. No
That's
problem.
There are some small positives that I do want to highlight. They're not enough to get this above like a 3 out of 10, but it's still...
I know I had to disappear, but did you... So we pointed out the whole taxi cab flickering and everything like that.
Yeah.
So then if everything was fake the whole time, how the fuck was the taxi cab flickering and the whole bus stop thing flickering?
They were all in on it.
Not flickering the entire town. They'd have to have the entire town in their belt.
They were in London at that time.
Mm-hmm.
When they're back.
No.
Reveal, they're in the village.
I think they were in the village when they walked by the taxi. That's a village.
Nope. That was him walking her to her house. That's in London. How the hell did they have a taxi light flickering like that?
Well, you could flicker a taxi light if you have somebody in there. You could flicker the lights, Dermy.
But it was like the people inside of it were actually acting like, what the hell's going on?
But it makes no sense to fake it.
Yes.
Since we're doing the reveal, Think Tank pops out his shirt and Prince Eric's like, yeah, I'm from Think Tank. We're actually proving that Unit is fake. So their big plan was, hey, Unit fakes aliens. So we're going to fake aliens and make them come to us and say, ha, we faked an alien attack. You fake everything. That doesn't work. It would only work if they were trying to get a confession out of Kate where she said something like, this is the Shriek, but the Shriek's not real. Like trying to get Kate to say something like that. That's the only benefit you could have out of the Shriek attack. But they're not even trying to do that. So you're going to prove that they fake alien encounters by faking an alien encounter and providing no evidence? Unit legitimately looked scared in the footage that they got. They were legitimately ready to fire. If they're faking everything up to this point, why would they be behaving like this? Their evidence actually proves the contrary. Think Tank is the dumbest group of people ever, and it should never have gone on the internet and made as big of a splash. There's enough common sense people in the real world to look at that and say, yeah, that actually proves that they're thinking that there was a real alien invasion and they're responding to it well, which means they probably have dealt with alien invasions before.
Jed, I'm not trying to get political on all this, but we have some pretty big moments for the past couple of years where things hit the internet and people just turn off brain and they show just how retarded they truly are.
Mm-hmm.
At least there was fake information out there, and like there were enough people arguing. But just the idea of, hey, we're gonna fake it, and that means you fake it. That's too big a pill to swallow.
There's so much on here that is just idiotic and retarded to the next degree. I don't care if I'm not trying to say you're retarded anymore. I'm just saying it. There's been too many things that they've seen. There's too many big things that have happened in London that are still canon at this point. There's been times where like some of the stuff has been undone to a certain extent, like season 5, the invasion of the Daleks where the Earth got transported in season 4 didn't happen anymore. So there have been a little things like that. But since then, there's plenty of stuff that happened that Unit couldn't fake. He mentions the Sycorax. How do you fake the Sycorax? That was specifically something that happened at the beginning of David Tennant season 2. So we can imagine most of David Tennant's stuff is canon in this world that they saw. How do you fake a city-sized ship that everyone saw?
Yeah.
How do you fake?
Hold on a second.
How do you fake aliens invading like the whole Tower of London moment? Not hitting Big Ben.
Because somebody wants attention. Let's give them attention. We're the sad bastards. We're not the ones triggered to come into a stream and cry at us and tell us to touch grass and shut the fuck up. Well, you know what? We did go touch grass because that's what Shooty told us to go do.
And that's what everyone did because the
Everybody's
viewership
gotta
is
do it.
shit.
Yeah.
And yeah, we find enjoyment
enjoyment.
out
Yeah.
of Real Doctor Who. I'm actually
Yeah.
watching Real Doctor Who again right now. I just watched Heaven Sent today.
Yeah.
I consider
Oh,
that's
yeah.
an all-time great episode. One of the last good episodes of the show.
Listen,
And it's a
after
banger.
last week,
I'm
I
gonna
wanted to
replay-
watch Midnight again.
I'm going to replay this real quick because we do find enjoyment when the Doctor really shows up. Because you know who the Doctor is? He saves people.
I'm the Doctor, and I save people.
Yeah, we like the Doctor. And if you want to come back and cry at us some more, come back in about 5 weeks when we do Nerdgasm and talk about real Doctor Who and show you how much we love and respect it and wish it was still here. So why don't you go take a little walk in your corner with likely the masks that you're still wearing while touching yourself and thinking that you're such a good person. All right? You enjoyed your attention. You can now go cry some more. Thanks for the engagement.
Oh, 1.5
for the
million.
engagement.
You guys can have fun, jerking each other off.
Yeah. All right, so back on topic. Anyway, all right, so we now get the reveal, the whole thing. Go back to that. So first of all, you asked this before. Think tank. Why?
I think because this is where the reveal is that everything's basically a mis and disinformation campaign and fighting back against people that they perceive that push mis and disinformation. So they're trying to do the whole think tank because there's a lot of think tanks that push mis or disinformation.
You know, you're right.
And in my video,
we're celebrating that he was a Joe Rogan metaphor.
A Joe Rogan metaphor.
Let's set this up then. Let's get into this. We now spend the next 10 minutes of the episode revealing the show's commentary on citizen journalism and podcasters, and let's just say the word YouTubers.
Yeah.
And how you're spreading the misinformation. All right, you guys, I asked you guys this question. What is the real commentary on this? Because there's layers to it, I think. The person who wrote this episode who is not RTD, they threw a lot in there. And what I picked up definitely was how, when you reverse it and realize what they're truly saying, that by the time we get to the end of it, how dare you don't trust the government? How dare you try to defund the good things the government is doing for you, England? How dare you do that? How dare you say, get off my world to Shooty Hoo to his face, both telling him to leave because he's a black man and because he's gay. I reject your reality. That's what I saw. Jeremy, what did you see?
You're not wrong. Like, I agree with you, but I saw it as a much more broader thing, that it is the people that they perceive that push mis or disinformation. So if I take it to the American perspective, I don't really say Joe Rogan per se is like one of the key prevailers. I would say more like a Tim Pool, a Steven Crowder, Ben Shapiro, people like that are more political in the grand scheme of things, that do push a bunch of stuff that people like that would say would be mis or disinformation. But then to take it to the more UK centric mindset, I would say that the main guy the main villain guy is supposed to kind of be a stand-in for people like Tommy Robinson, pushing, the anti-immigration narratives and trying to fight back against immigration stuff. So, and again, there's a lot of what they would say is mis or disinformation prevailing around all that. So it is like the how dare do you speak up to like the government? How dare you call them out? How dare you actually, do all this stuff? They're here to help. But then the ultimate problem comes in when you just throw a little bit of red meat in there. And again, sorry to get super political, but these people did it first. Donald Trump's the president now. Do you truly think that he's not lying to you? Do you truly think that his government isn't doing bad things? So wouldn't you want to go out and do what this guy's doing essentially, and questioning what the heck's going on?
Always question.
Get to the bottom.
Always question.
Like there's nothing wrong with questioning anything, but they're literally saying that if you question your betters, you're the villain, and you're gonna end up having your arm bit off by a shriek.
We'll get to that.
I think you're both right. There's so much messaging in it that I don't think this episode was anything besides the messaging. We have to remember that the guy who wrote this episode actually wrote the Jodie Whittaker season 11 episode about Amazon.
Okay, I was wondering, did he write any other episodes? I knew
he wrote Kablam. I think he wrote a couple other ones as well. But if you guys remember, sad white man worked for evil space Amazon and to fight Amazon, he put killer gas inside of bubble wrap to kill all their customers who have to pop bubble wrap. That was the evil.
Was it Kablam, the episode where they had him sucking his thumb?
Yes, I think that was Kablam. I'm not 100% sure. That was a long time ago, but I believe it was that episode.
Yeah.
And there's so much going on. We can't forget either that the BBC, who makes Doctor Who, yes, with Disney's funding right now, but it's still a BBC product, is a government-funded studio.
Yes.
They are beholden to the government. So, of course, their position is going to be trust the government, let them spend money how they want, because if they didn't, the BBC wouldn't have money. I think more than anything else, this is tied into the TV license debate in the UK. I think it has a connection to that because a lot of people don't want to pay that. They don't want to be compelled to get a TV license. It was Orphan 55? Okay. Those episodes blur together for me.
Yeah, they do.
That's
they
my
really
bad.
do.
But I think it has something to do with that because the BBC wants to force UK citizens to pay for the BBC, whether or not they watch it, whether or not they want to. And a lot of people aren't okay with that. So I feel like that ties into the taxpayer discussion in this episode. That ties into podcasters going against the approved narrative. It ties into so much at the episode. If you took out all the political messaging in it, there would be no episode left.
Yeah.
And you know what I love is when we go to the montage of Think Tank and their legions behavior, who does that more accurately represent what they do? They talk about doxing.
Yeah, he doxed all the unit employees.
And we learn later he's able to do that because he has an inside gay man. But because that dude is so shooty humping. Anyway, so there is a doxing incident. There's literal harassment and attacking of people in the streets. Who does that actually represent when that happens in the real world?
Well,
their side,
because they accuse everybody else of doing what they do, but at the same time, they themselves can't look in the fucking mirror.
Yeah,
everything that this guy did that they're trying to say is the bad thing is some stuff that they do over and over and over again. Well, at the same time, when you point out, like, I actually agree with Jed that there's everything that they're calling out is just so broad brush that you can stick literally any little thing there. And it ultimately just becomes uber political that they're just calling out
one size fit all propaganda.
Quite literally. That's why I did the whole Tim Pool, Crowder, all of them. Then I brought in Tommy Robinson because it's like there's so much shit here. It's just the purveyor, the people they think are the purveyors of mis or disinformation.
That's why I wanted to have this conversation because it's a very loaded representation in this episode. And we all saw different things, but when we all share it, it all comes together. And we are able to show, yes, they are literally pushing all these very disturbing pro-government, anti-free speech, anti-people, anti-individuality messages into this stuff. And also their hate propaganda. As I said, when we get that confrontation, when Shooty finally shows up again, the whole I reject your reality, get off my world. You can't get more freaking obvious what he's saying there. Black gay man, black foreigner, get off my world, get out of my country.
Do we know when this episode was being written and shot?
2 years ago is the report.
They back-to-back season 1 and season 2, didn't they?
So then this would have, this was before like Tommy Robinson was really on the rise. So,
yeah. So that this goes on for like 10 minutes. So we're at like 30. We're like 35, 40 minutes in. We're into the final moments of the episode now.
I want to point out something here during this time skip that we have while Think Tank is taking over the world and saying Unit is evil. Something I want to point out that Stan actually had to remind me of. Chudigawa is on Earth during this time. Do we remember a certain Christmas special that came out?
Oh,
yeah.
really?
The year that Shudigatwa stays on Earth falls in the same period of time, I think. So there's Shudigatwa watching TV with that chick in the hotel being like, hey, they're bad-mouthing Yuna and my friend Ruby. Maybe I should call her up and see if she's doing okay. Or maybe, like I said, when that episode came out, go to Dr. 14, who's right there, the
That's
fake
the
David
thing.
Tennant, and say, hey, let's go fix it. There's
That's
two
what I
doctors
said in
on
my
Earth
review.
during this who do nothing
Yes.
and let it all happen.
I said that in my
completely forgot
review.
about that.
Let us not forget, tenant number 2, 14, he's there. He is on planet, hamming it up with the nobles, sitting around doing jack all. Do you think, his PTSD aside, do you think he'd sit there and let them do that to Unit, to Kate?
How long has this man had PTSD? He's fucking fixed by now.
It's only been a year their time, Dermy.
I don't
He
give a
doesn't go
shit.
anywhere. He doesn't go anywhere. He sits there drinking tea and crumpets. I don't know. But that I brought that up. 10 and 14, tenant number 2, he's there. And if we're going to play the game that really is the Doctor, which I still don't say it is, because Jodie Whittaker is a horrible nightmare that should never happen. He protects Earth. It doesn't matter if he's tired. If he's there, he wouldn't sit by and let all this happen.
Listen, it's revealed at the end that this is not the Doctor that does appear, has not been the Doctor that we've been watching for the past couple of episodes.
Well, yes.
So it could literally been any Doctor of any period of time that knew that this shit was going on.
But Dermy, nobody can go past May 2025, May 25th, 2025 anymore. May 24th, 2025, whatever it is. No one could go by at that point anymore on Earth. Can't go to Earth. So who knows where they are?
Then how did he get?
Well, I'm going to ask this question. So, all right, so let's get to the climactic confrontation on top of Unit.
The only decent bit because of Kate
Lethbridge Stewart. She does a badass move that you see coming a mile away. Let's be honest.
Oh, 100%.
So
badass,
obvious.
Extremely kind of awful, but badass. And you're like, you know,
hey,
what?
don't talk bad about her daddy. Don't you?
Yeah.
That moment was my favorite in all of Shooty Who. I love classic Who. Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart is one of the greatest characters in all of science fiction. He's got more TV. He's in more Doctor Who than any single other actor in the entire franchise. Mm-hmm. He's a fucking rock star. And so when someone comes in and badmouths him and Kate just gets in his fucking face, I am here for it. Yeah. And I know some people are conflicted with how the Brigadier was used in Dark Water in the end of Capaldi's first season. I really like it with the salute, connecting it to Kate's story.
I was okay with that. I'm perfectly fine. That's like you came back to save me, old friend.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for being here.
If he had just been a Cyberman and they just like, oh yeah, he's a bad guy here, that would have been an issue, but he was able to resist. So I'm okay with it, but I understand why people don't. I can see both sides, but
I liked it. It's just
Kate
like
standing up for the Brigadier is something that I can salute. She's still the real character because she was a great character during the Matt Smith and Capaldi runs. So I'm more than happy to have her still in the show. When she has moments like this.
You mentioned that, Sarah. I got the feels. I got the feels a little bit when he showed up and he was there. I was like, thank you, old friend, for still being here for me after all this time. You waited. You came back. I love that. That was freaking awesome.
Gives him the salute.
Yes, that was so good.
Well, and they also have it at the end of season 6 when Matt Smith is trying to avoid his death. He's just partying, going through all time, avoiding everything, and he calls up the Brigadier and it's like, hey, let's go party. Let's forget our worries. And then he hears from the nurse that the Brigadier passed away in the night, and was the hard moment that made him look at his own life. It's like, it's time. If I don't have the Brigadier, if the Brigadier was able to accept death, well, maybe I can do it as well. That was such a good moment as well. Brigadier is a fucking great character.
Yeah, I mean, considering the Third Doctor, that's a whole season of the Brigadier when he was created. So I love it.
He predates that.
Oh, does? Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
He showed up in the second Doctor's run. I believe his first appearance was in the Yetis in the Underground, which they mentioned in this episode as well, from the second Doctor's era.
Okay. See, Jed knows classic Who better than I do.
Better than me too, but they had to badmouth those Yetis and everything.
Yeah, they did, didn't they? It's always talk down.
It's talking down, but then he gets his comeuppance. So it's like,
All right, so let's just skip to all that. So after a lot of back and forth, which is outside of Kate's moment, the back and forth of trying to, why are you doing this? It's so ham-fisted and poorly written.
It's fucking pointless. If he's just gonna go in there with the gun, using his insides.
Why is he
What
there?
is he trying to accomplish? He's not trying to kidnap. He's trying to get a confession, but
not to mention, very poor direction with where that body cam is. He's holding the gun over it most of the time. If he's live streaming in that moment, nobody's seeing shit.
But you think about that. He shot a man.
Yes.
On live streaming.
Yes.
And they still support him. The public.
Yeah, and it was his inside man who's one of his followers.
That unit again didn't know about, shockingly, even though they have people listening.
Where's everyone else in the building? They act like there was everyone in the room and then one security guard and the traitor.
They were shutting. There's a scene of them shutting down a lot of.
Yeah, but
doors.
he should have still seen people along the way.
What I don't get is how did that one assistant analyst guy manage to override everybody else in that building? Doesn't that stupid robot have complete control of that building?
Yeah, and so should Kate. There's no way this random guy has high security clearance.
Yeah. Even if it is let's say it was a virus to control it, the stupid robot should have been able to detect that and override it because it's a freaking super robot.
It's a worthless piece of shit.
Yeah, it looks bad
because he can look into the fucking gay guy's entire history and see that he is anti-establishment and all this. It was a bad guy the whole time. How the fuck did you guys know that when you hired him?
Yeah, and they showed that they clearly recorded his interview too. They show a clip of it. It was recorded video. How is it if you're following him on social media and you have video recordings of the interview, how is it that there was no facial recognition used to link it? Oh, we should be monitoring this guy a little more heavily. Oh, maybe we shouldn't let him be dating one of our assets.
Well, and also, Kate specifically says at the beginning of the scene, we're pretty sure he has a mole. So they've known at least for a little while, and they're not doing the obvious thing of cross-referencing communication with employees, which they do quickly.
To do it in that moment.
They should have done it the moment the doxing happened and had that information ready. It's like, hey, Ruby, we found out he doxed some people. We looked it up. This is his guy, and neutralize him.
Yeah, it's more competence. All right, so we get through the whole confrontation thing, and then the obvious happens. After he pushes Kate's buttons, the conveniently placed Shriek out on the helipad for transfer is released.
That he hasn't taken the antidote for,
which he said repeatedly because he didn't believe it.
Which doesn't make sense.
Okay.
He absolutely believes in aliens. He absolutely believes that the doctor is who he says he is. He's not fazed by the time travel at the end. And he specifically says, oh, you haven't met Belinda yet? If he didn't believe in time travel, that comment makes zero sense.
Well, it doesn't make...
he should have taken the antidote because he knows it's real.
To your point, Jed, why the heck would Unit be making up like the doctor? Because he tries to go like the doctor's fake as well, even though he believes in it. Why would they be making that up when he first encountered them hunting the Shriek in a random spot with no cameras and nobody else around? Why would they make that all up? Why would they hide the time travel? Why would they hide all that if there's no evidence that that's actually going on?
I don't get what he hates. Like, being obsessed with the Doctor after an encounter is a very common thing in this franchise. Try to be a companion. And the podcast made sense with that version of him. But if he's trying to prove that Unit is lying, why do a fan podcast with tons of views that say, hey, I love what Unit's doing. The Doctor's so real. He's so real. I love him. And that's where his audience is. That's who the guy in Unit is. That's how, like we saw, we heard him listening to the pro-Doctor podcast at the beginning. Why would someone who listens to a pro Doctor podcast and then the host says, hey, I actually hate the Doctor, he's not real, everything's a lie, go, yeah, everything you've told me that made me like you for years is actually not true. Let me help you kill people. It's just also contradictory. The podcast doesn't make sense. Faking it to prove that Unit's faking it doesn't make sense. He absolutely believes it's all true, and it doesn't make sense. There is no reason for him to do what he does. The whole thing of, oh, he's just a white man who hates things because he's evil, isn't enough of and straight. That's not a character motivation. Interacting with a strange man when you're a kid doesn't lead to this type of life. He's dedicated his life to
Well,
undoing
it
unit, even though
could.
he knows it's real.
To
It's
be fair, it could lead you to this kind of life. It really depends on what that meeting that strange man and what that strange man has you do.
well, I mean specifically this meeting.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make sense. What does he want to accomplish? What does he gain by anything? And
We don't
he's
know.
always
Well, they
contradicting
say
himself.
Power, Jed. He gains power and control. That's what Ruby says.
He shouldn't. That's not how the world works. It's not how
Yeah.
logic works. He's constantly contradicting himself. When anyone with the slightest bit of common sense go, hey, you've had a pro unit podcast for years with 80,000 viewers, and now you're saying it was all fake. Why should people believe you if you've been lying about this for so long?
We know what you know what that commentary is? It's people are stupid, and all the people who follow YouTubers and people on social media, they're all dumb and easily led along like lemmings. That's what that is. That's what that is.
And really,
Yeah,
it's their own group, but
Well, yeah. Don't realize that you're the ones who are actually behaving like that.
It doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't.
Hey, he's not phased by being in the fucking TARDIS. Appearing in it.
All right, so we go through the whole thing where the Shriek bites his arm off, which I laughed. I laughed at that.
it was so stupid.
But I
It's how
laughed 'cause it
scary
was
you the
stupid.
face. You still don't believe it.
I laughed because it was stupid. Point is,
I think he believed it the whole time. He was just continuing the lie because he was live streaming.
I agree with you. But what happens is then he's in jail. Okay, and everything goes back to normal. And we go through the whole there's not much to say about the whole Ruby taking a break thing. I mean, it's just that's just schmaltzy crap. I need to get
He's
away
doing
from
the same
everything.
thing as the.
You already have
whatever
2 moms.
doctor.
What do you collect them?
That line. Oh man.
I rolled my eyes at it, but I've seen
Yeah.
people do that in real life where they have like armies of moms.
Yeah. So Ruby's gonna go take a powder someplace, which is fine. Millie Gibson got the hell off this show because she knew it was bad.
And she took her boots with her.
I know listen, she still posts them everywhere, I'm sure. So one day, maybe. She's young. She might decide to have some fun for us.
OnlyFans exists, honey.
Damn it, Dermy. Damn it, Dermy. God.
That was a bad
Hang on. I'm gonna channel somebody. God damn it, Dermy. There we go. All right, so we cut to the important part now. He's in jail, in his cell. Jed, you would know this much better than I, and I asked this question. Can the TARDIS just teleport like that?
It can materialize around people. That's what I thought they were trying to imply.
I don't know if that
seemed like it was in his head. No,
you
once it undid.
You didn't hear the whirring, though. It's not like the TARDIS showed up in his cell. So, it can materialize things, but it looked like there was a flash of white light, and he's been teleported into the retardis with angry lighting.
I think I did like that design of the TARDIS.
It's just a light. All it is a lighting change. Is all it is.
The lighting change made a lot of difference for me. But it was weird. It was very unclear to the point where he actually had to ask when Mrs. Flood showed up and said, "Hey, was that real?"
Yeah. So now here's the speech here's Shooty. Shooty comes around in a very skin tight, gay all white outfit.
Oh, there's pictures of Belinda wearing that same shirt, so they're sharing tops.
Later, because remember, this is like a year. This is before he meets Belinda. So, live action Eric gives his whole speech. We talked about that already. But then here comes Shooty, and Shooty starts to give what sounds like a doctor speech. I do all this stuff. I keep the bad things at bay. I work hard. But then people like you who are special for all the wrong reasons because you lie and you steal and you hurt. And then you go after my friends. And I'm thinking, this is a constipated doctor speech because he's talking with all the bravado of the doctor, but he hasn't actually done anything. Mm-hmm. He just stands nose to nose.
Well, he's
with a man that he can't kiss.
He's openly saying, like, I save the world, I protect people. It's like, no, you don't. Other people protect people. You don't do shit. You cry.
Yeah, I said that too. What has Shooty who done to protect anybody? What has he done?
The dog behind the TARDIS.
Oh, that's bad. That's bad. So what do we make of that speech? I called it, like I said, the constipated doctor speech, where he tries, but he just can't get it out. It's stuck. It's not coming. It was sad to watch, though, to try and see Shooty being alpha, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he tried. I think that is the best that he is capable of.
You're right. I agree with you completely. That is the
sad
best.
when Kate was more of an
That's the
alpha.
second time you've done that.
I did that through my entire fucking video.
Video. Yeah, the chat's right. It felt like he was lecturing us rather than Conrad.
Oh, well,
because what was the point of this? The doctor doesn't gloat like this. The doctor doesn't gloat like this. The guy has got his punishment. He has been neutralized. The doctor never met him. He wouldn't come here just to say, you're going to die sad and alone because you're white and
Do you
pathetic.
want spoilers? I'll give you spoilers. You're going to have a heart attack in jail.
I have a question. Is this the conversation that convinced Shooty to go hunt down Belinda?
Yes.
Probably.
Have you heard of Belinda Chandra? Yep, that's what they're saying. This starts it. I think we're going to get more information in between. I think there's still more information to come. But yeah, this is what starts it.
So what do we got here?
It's the same shirt.
Wow. All right, check for the collar. No, yeah, I did. Oh, man, that is so gay.
They're sharing shirts.
Could it
I
be
can't believe I'm going to say this.
The costume department just has no money?
It's so lazy, they just reused it.
I can't believe I'm going to say this. Belinda makes it look a whole lot better.
Well, yeah, it's made for tits. It's not made for that.
So, I mean, this is... Wow. Okay.
That's where we're at.
Just when you think it can't get any worse. You know?
Well, there is one positive thing to this episode that we haven't mentioned yet.
Okay, what?
This is the first time in like 9 episodes Shutigawa didn't cry.
The streak is broken.
Wait, you guys aren't excited for the Avengers assembling against the Doctor?
I know, but Mrs. Flood breaks him out of jail to recruit him for whatever the hell she's doing.
I think this is one of the worst villains since the Rosa Parks episode from season 11. The racist from the future who came back to stop Rosa Parks because it's the moment that black people knew to stand up against white people.
Well, this guy's also a racist. He's a subtle racist.
Well, and all the stands were like, it is so apt to the real struggle that good-hearted women have dating men, and they're hiding their conservatism from us. And he broke a few points when Ruby said that the Doctor was gay, and he got all uncomfortable. That was when the mask slipped. I look for that when I date men. If they get uncomfortable when me mentioning gay men, they're hiding their conservatism.
Listen,
it's so relevant to my own experience. I've seen a lot of that.
Bitch, you ain't dating any men. Shut the fuck up.
We're on 3 monetized channels, and I would probably even not want to say what I'm thinking right now, even on Static's channel. Okay, Jesus Christ. And I say some heinous things on Static's channel.
I know you do.
No, that's what I'm saying. Conrad knows the truth. He absolutely knows that the Doctor's real, that aliens are real, and is for some reason pretending that he doesn't. And it shouldn't gain him any power. It's all retarded. It's contradictory all the time. It's constantly contradicting itself. They want to make this move of, these evil right-wingers, they actually know that what they're doing is wrong, but they do it anyway, and they don't even think that there might be real reasons. It would be
one thing if he's getting gaslit by somebody else to do this. Like if somebody's pulling his strings. But no, if Mrs. Flood is first showing up right now to do this, that means he did this all on his own. Nobody fed him information.
If Mrs. Flood was pulling the strings the whole time, it'd still be dumb and stupid, but at least it would give a little bit more justification for some things. Right now, it's just she's being the Samuel L. Jackson to the Doctor Who universe.
So let's ask the question. We always ask this, and I've thrown out my suggestion because I don't think that's happening anymore. I just don't. Who is Mrs. Flood?
I think she's the Ronnie, and I will fight a bitch if that's true.
I'm becoming more and more convinced that it's the Master.
How?
How?
I've actually heard a theory. So
I mean, it's just I know that they fucked around and they brought him back for Jody time, but the Master was a closed loop at that point, at least from my understanding.
They don't give a shit.
When it reaches Missy, that's the end of the
other
Master.
thing it could potentially be is the governor.
So
a new one.
This is a theory that I've heard that I think makes a lot of sense. A lot of the stuff that they said, the prison, the governor, a lot of the names, I don't know if it's exactly the right name, but it's similar to the prison that the Master's wife was in at the beginning of End of Time, before there was that resurrection scene when they brought back the Master for David Tennant's final two-parter. And being connected to that. And we saw an old lady pick up the Master Tooth after the toy maker dropped it at the end of the 60th anniversary.
Yep.
People are saying that Mrs. Flood picked it up and the spirit of the Master passed into her, and she went back to
that has been my theory for a while now, is that she's actually the Master. She's going to end up being some sort of primordial being, because I've been trying to point this out, is if you look at last season's episodes and overlay it with this season so far, we've been seeing essentially the exact same episodes over and over and over again. Maybe different variations, but just like the 4th episode of last season was 73 yards or 72 yards or whatever the fuck it was. Doctor wasn't there, but for 5 minutes. Same thing again here. You're seeing a constant pattern. Episode 2 last season, we dealt with the Maestro. Episode 2 this season, we dealt with the Lux. We're seeing this consistent pattern that I think it's going to end up being the Master's going to be the person pulling the strings the whole time, is now imbued with like the embodiment of the celestial beings to become maybe the time god or whatever. And then the end, it's going to be actually the Doctor's the time god.
I actually think there's something similar to that, because even with the Timeless Children, we never learned where the Doctor came from. The baby just showed up through a portal, and then Tecteun experimented on the baby and made Time Lords out of the baby juice. I think he's going to be one of the Celestials. I think he's going to be the Doctor himself. The Timeless Child is one of the immortals, one of the primordial
I hate all
gods.
of this, and when it comes to Miss Flood. The goat. My original theory was it's Susan, but I don't think it's Susan anymore. It's just if it is, man, that's retarded. But yeah, if that is what they started with chin balls, because
I don't think that was the plan. I think he's building off chin balls.
Okay, because we know RTD was working with chin balls. We know this. They were working together. So this is bad. Because there's one thing we've been saying ever since Timeless Children. We should not have more than the bare minimum knowledge of the Doctor that we had. That he grew up on Gallifrey. He had a family. He knew the Master. And when he becomes the Doctor, it's because he's running away from Gallifrey on a broken TARDIS. That's all we ever needed. We don't need to know that, because we don't need to know that this whole fake Timeless Child shit. Oh, a black little beautiful baby girl through a portal is the origin of Time Lords because another woman did horrible human experiments on her. It dilutes the glory, the mystery, the grandeur of it all. And that when it comes down to it, what makes the Doctor special is that he stood above. He's not different from his race. He just managed to mentally separate himself from their godlike, not godlike. Not God. Let me figure their megalomaniac thoughts of even though we're still mortals, even though we have regeneration, we're not. They think they're gods, but they're not. And that's why Time Lord Victorious is so important, because that's when he gives in.
Think about it.
Stops being the Doctor.
To what you're saying, though, but what if it turns out that he truly is a god the entire time?
But that's the problem.
Yeah.
If that's where that's what I'm saying. That's why all of this shit ruins it to the core.
Well, I can give you the scan argument. They'll say, like, but he never succumbed to being the god. He was a god the whole time, but he never wanted to be a god. He wanted to run away. He wanted to be a normal person.
I'm going to play it again.
I'm the Doctor, and I save people.
But that's all that matters.
I agree. But we're dealing with retards here who miss Grant Gregory, Love of Monsters Part 2, yes, but at the same time, he loves the fucking Doctor, but also hates the Doctor, doesn't believe in everything that's going on, but believes in it all, and nothing makes fucking sense.
It's just evil white man. That's all they have to say at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, but Adam, you are gonna get. I think you're gonna get one of your wishes.
Oh yeah, what's that?
Did you know what the overnights were?
Yes, Jed did show me yesterday.
I think we're gonna hit that under 1 million.
If
If not just 1 million itself, I think we're gonna hit.
All right, Jed, bring it up.
I think it's going to be the Eurovision episode. That's the one that's my prediction is going to be the lowest of the season just because of the immense amount of competition.
That's real world real world affecting it. So there we go. 1.5. So it went up 300,000 and dropped 300,000.
No.
So I just want to point out, lowest of all time. Next week, lowest of all time. Next week, second lowest of all time. Now, lowest of all time again. This is all competition for the worst of all time. This entire season, I think, will have the spot for all 8 worst viewed overnight Doctor Who episodes of all time.
You are
all
not
8
wrong.
of them.
All the consolidated numbers are also coming in just the worst of all time as well. There's numbers that are, this is the end. Nobody cares. But I was wrong. I will say that. I was expecting this episode to potentially have a decent boost in numbers than the next couple of episodes. Again, falling down over time, because I thought, because we're doing the whole fucking pattern of last season, episode 3 last season was considered to be the best, even though it's boom. Then people did kind of like some of the things within this past episode 3, the well, most competently done, but then it is still a shit episode. I thought maybe people would be like, well, people are saying it's good. We'll come back just for a little bit, and we would have a boost in numbers, maybe a little above 2 million. I'm shocked that it actually fell.
I don't think we're getting above 2 again, with the exception of the finale, maybe.
I mean, we've got 2 weeks now. We've got episode 5 and 6, 2 weeks until the penultimate, which begins the final arc. Because essentially 7 and 8 are it's a 2-parter, essentially. It's going to be. Next week, we're going to, Jed said it's actually Nigeria. I said it was Planet Nigeria. I don't know.
Well, and some people are pointing out in the marketing, they're talking about a barbershop. Apparently, that's a big part of the episode is surrounding barbershop because, of course, Black people are in barbershops.
That's not racist at all.
Yeah, not racist at all. They're capitalizing the word barber for the barber a lot in a really weird way. Some people think it's going to be a Time Lord who calls himself the barber. I don't know if that's true, but
a black barber.
So we're going to this week. So they've got essentially 2 weeks left to set up this weird ass story they've been crafting. And there's no, but I mean, I just want to say nobody knows where this is going. Get her home. Get her home has been the storyline. We didn't spend this entire episode had nothing to do with Get Her Home.
Adam, I keep bringing this up. We didn't know that what Millie Gibson's story was until the fucking 8th episode.
True.
We didn't know what the hell was going on until the very fucking end. And even then, we still don't know what the hell was going on. Nothing matters until the story. Listen, I love reviewing Doctor Who, even though it's painful. I love doing the stream, even though there's parts of it that it's cathartic and everything like that, and it's still painful. I want to get to the end because I want to know what's the stupid resolution that you're going to be portraying to the world. Why is fucking belligerent important this time around?
Not.
Who's the actual villain and blah, 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 blah. I just want to get there because it's like, quit
jerking us around.
Yeah, quit jerking us around. You're not good at it. Just get it over with.
And this is nobody's watching. So it's gonna after this week, I think prediction next week, 1-3. I think 1-3 next week.
Because this episode is not bringing people in. Some people liked 73 yards, but it didn't see a real spike afterwards, even though people said they liked it. So I agree. This is going to be partway down to 1, and then Eurovision's going to get it below 1.
So is Eurovision episode 6?
I think so.
Okay. It has to be because we know that Planet Nigeria. So
That's right.
It's got to be that. Yeah. So it has to be assist because it wouldn't be part of the penultimate combination. And we know that Eurovision episode that Mrs. Flood is in the audience watching because they showed it in the freaking season trailer.
So we have.
We got 4 weeks.
So we have. Oh god damn it!
It would be kind of funny if they make her Susan in the end, because everyone thought, "Hey, you've named this lady who keeps showing up randomly Susan. Is it going to be the Susan?" And then it wasn't. It was just some random bitch. And then in the next season, they do the exact same storyline and then actually have it be Susan. I can see them thinking that that's funny. And
I've been saying it's Susan for 2 years, and in the past couple of weeks, I said no, it can't be. It makes no sense.
But at the same time, like to Jed's point, that's what they always fucking do in these modern writing rooms, where it's like season 1, you want this.
Well,
we're not going to give you this, but in season 2, we'll give you this.
Jeremy,
nobody cares anymore.
Let's remember why I thought it was Susan the whole time in here, because of the Devil's Cord when he references her in that episode.
Yeah,
that's why I thought that they're going to roll out Susan at some point. That was the catalyst for my thought process on it.
Which I don't. That's not a wrong thought process to have, and that's something to actually think about in the grand scheme of things. But you also have to remember they did that on purpose so that you would think that Susan's actually going to show up when it's not really Susan. Again, you made it important.
Goat says that the 6 is the flood reveal, which would make sense because then we're going into the penultimate episode where shit's going to happen. So if that happens, that's going to be
think about it, okay?
Daleks Are Forever. RTD actually specifically responded to that and said they're going to go anyway and just hope it works out in the end, because they're not going to be on the same channel, I think. But go
ahead. Finish up, Jed. Sorry.
Oh, no, sorry. I was just going to say, regardless, RTD did say that if it specifically said if the game goes into overtime, they will still air the episode and hope for the best.
Yeah.
Well, all I'm going to say is think about it, Adam. We're at the Eurovision episode. You get Mrs. Flood coming up, and the next thing you hear is bum, 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 bum. You just start hearing the knocks.
I reject your reality. I reject your reality.
You know it would make sense, even if it's retarded. It would make sense. It would be their big, like, look, we're dealing with music. Here's the beats.
Somebody screen cap that right there. You're frozen.
He's getting a face full.
I'm going to download that. I'm going to screen cap that and share it. Are you there?
Wait, Chudigat was going to be at the real Eurovision that night presenting? What? That's what the goat's saying, is that Chudigat was the British Eurovision presenter. Man. So he's going to be on all the BBC all night long.
Hang on. Jeremy, how do you feel about that? Oh, he's excited. Look at him.
He's very excited.
He's excited. He crashed. He's all right. He's going to crash. I won't cause the pain anymore. Wait until he comes back. Okay, so I want to do outros because we're done. But we have to wait till Jeremy gets back. So can I just kick him until he comes back? I'm gonna kick from the studio. He'll come back. All right. Jeremy, I kicked you. Come back.
If that's true, Legatus, that would be hilarious. Oh my god. If because the game goes into overtime, they have to air Doctor Who on like BBC Two or something like that, so they can't rely on that happening. Oh.
All right. We got to say something else till Jeremy gets back. We can do outros. Anything else? Do we have anything else on this?
No, I mean, I think we covered it. It's just.
I do have one thing. So there are rumors. I've been trying to find real evidence, but all I had I've been looking for a week, and I didn't find any actual evidence because I saw it pop up on Twitter. And the only evidence I have is Fandom Pulse, and we know how I feel about using Fandom Pulse as a source for stuff. There is rumors that Jodie's going to show up at the end.
I have heard those rumors. Some are even going so far as to saying that he's going to regenerate into her. Not that makes any sense.
What? I mean, what is it? What is it? Incestuous regeneration now? Is that what this turned into?
Maybe.
You're gonna fuck yourself and turn into your previous version?
I think the fact that she might be in this episode further supports that it's going to wrap up the Timeless Children story.
Yeah, Dermy,
I think we're gonna get the reveal.
Did you hear what we said, Dermy, about the rumors? Okay, so I've heard this for about a week now, but there's been no actual physical reporting on it until Fandom Pulse, and we know how you and I feel about Fandom Pulse, that Jody might show up at the end.
That's the only place I've heard about that, along with they're saying Tenet might come back. I don't know if that's.
I heard it about a week ago on some people in our sphere of RIP Doctor Who were tweeting about it, and that's where I heard it. And I've been searching for it ever since. And Fandom Pulse is the first place I've found that's actually reporting on it. And again, we know how much how much we trust Fandom Pulse on anything right now.
And Joe Martin might be in the Black episode next week.
Oh, please. Oh boy, that'd be fun. The first Doctor. Shut up. All right, we are done though, because I got to get over for Mellow Monday. So let's say our farewells and try not to hurt ourselves anymore. Jed, you want to pick anything?
Just Saturday Night Driving, which we'll get into. But anyone who's not watching on my channel, you can find me on YouTube and Kick at Hollywood Scholar. Please subscribe. Watch us die inside every week.
Dermy.
Yeah.
Outro.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Hi, I'm Dermy Wormy. If you're watching on my end, you already know this. Yeah, I'm this lovable giant or dumbass of a man that likes to put out videos. Normally, I have nothing really planned for tomorrow, but I have my review out. I have the overnight numbers discussion video, and I have a video on voice actors and how the industry is becoming just super fucking racist for no apparent reason other than propaganda bullshit. So yeah, there's that. Yeah, check me out. And Ballbusters this Friday with Culture Casino, and then of course Saturday's the Outlast stream,
which I don't have to be a part of.
No,
Gal's got a different person lined up, not me. So I get to do something else. Well, I get to do something else. So we'll find out.
You know, my thing just my heart sank just a little bit more because it's like, if it's not you, I already know one of them has to be Static, but if it's not you.
She told me, all I can say is it's not me. I am not on call. So no, I'm much of a lifeline anyway. Come on. Anyway, so as for me, like Jed said, we got driving this weekend. It's The Matrix. There's only one Matrix movie. That's simple. Rest of the week, we'll see how it goes. And just if you are unaware, every day now at 1 p.m. Eastern, I've got a new show, The Daily Dive, or we call it the Double Ds. Join and basically make me suffer. Make me suffer. That Jed, did I suffer today?
You did. You suffered quite a lot between learning about the Blake Lively situation, which was fantastic, and also learning what Skippity Toilet was. That was a true cultural moment, I believe.
Yeah. Oh, I have a really good one for him.
Well, you gotta pay. It's the only way I do it.
He's only gay for pay. That's what we established.
All right. I will show it right now for people who are interested on the daily dive. Here's the pay scale to make me do stuff. It's going to change. It's $10 for an Adam rant on any topic. Now, $15 to choose an article as we go through it, or maybe one I haven't seen to make me read.
Okay.
$20 to make me torture for a video. And if you want to have me review something, $30 for a live on-stream review, but it has to take 1 to 2 days because I have to watch it and get ready for it. So
that's an episode or a movie. He might be forced to watch the Minecraft movie.
That's awful. Why would you?
An episode or a movie, and then I have to get on stream and for the segment give a live review on screen.
I have a much better idea that will definitely make you want to kill me and yourself in the process, and it's only going to cost me $20.
Yeah, and if you do it right now, it goes to the funding where you and I will have to hold hands at Galaxy's Edge for half an hour.
Oh, I'm gonna fucking milk the shit out of that. You know me.
That's gonna be the day of doom for me. Anyway, all right, guys, we're gonna wrap it up because I do have to do
my hands.
I hate you so much. I have to go get ready for Mellow Mondays. So thank you, everybody, across all our channels for watching us. We hope you had a good time. And go touch grass, everybody. Go touch grass. Anyway, thank you one and all. Hit those like buttons, subscribe to the channels, and we'll see you next week for our reviews and discussions of more Shooty Who Season 2. Until then, take it easy, everybody. Wow, we were